Hello everyone. In this lecture we are going to discuss the divergence and curl of electrostatic field. We have already defined that electric flux passing through any surface is given by integral of E dot dA, where E is the vector and dA is surface element, so both are vectors. So this is how the electric flux is defined. Now let's assume that there is some point charge plus q, then electric field due to this charge will be given by E is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square and r cap. So r cap is the direction of this electric field. So if you draw the field lines, it will appear like this. Okay. So arrow tells you about the direction of the field, and and total and this phi is here the electric flux. So electric flux is defined as by this term, that is integral of E dot dA. So now let's assume the simplest case of a point charge q at origin, and now let's calculate the electric flux passing through a closed surface. So let's assume that there is some closed surface here. So you can write phi E is equal to, so for the E is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square r cap dot dA vector. Okay. Now in spherical polar coordinates, suppose you are taking some spherical closed surface. So in spherical polar coordinates, dA is some surface element. Okay. So dA is equal to, we have already discussed in the previous lecture. So dA will be equal to r square sine theta d theta d phi r cap. Okay. So now let's substitute here. So you will get 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square into r square sine theta d phi r cap dot r cap. Okay. So r cap dot r cap will be equal to 1. R cap dot r cap is equal to 1. So you can write here 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught. Here r square will cancel each other. Q will comes out of the integral, and you have sine theta d phi. Now let's put the limit. So you have to integrate this term with respect to theta and phi, and you know that in spherical polar coordinates theta varies. In order to cover the entire surface, if you want to cover the whole surface, if you remember, so this is your theta and this was your phi. So in order to cover the whole surface, you must vary theta from 0 to pi. So limit of theta will be from 0 to pi, and phi will be from 0 to 2 pi. Since r is not inside the integral, so we don't need to put r here. So if you integrate it, you will get, now first put the, now it will behave as a double integral na? So 4 pi epsilon naught, put the limit theta is equal to 0 to pi and theta phi is equal to 0 to 2 pi. These are the limits, and you have the to integrate sine theta with respect to d theta and d phi. Since theta and phi is totally independent here, so we can evaluate separately. So you can put 4 pi epsilon naught from theta is equal to 0 to pi, here sine theta d theta and d phi, this is phi, 0 to 2 phi. Okay. So so if you integrate this term, it will give you 2 pi. So q upon 4 pi epsilon naught and it will be 2 pi. If you integrate, it will give you cos theta with minus sign, so minus 1 cos theta, and with limit 0 to pi by 2. If you evaluate, you will get q by, sorry, so you will get q by epsilon naught. So I have just integrated, and I have obtained that total electric flux due to a single charge was q by epsilon naught passing through a closed surface. So we have finally phi E is equal to closed integral E dot dA is equal to q by epsilon naught. This was the case, special case, in which there was a single point charge situated at the origin. Okay. Now suppose that instead of a single charge, we have a bunch of charges scattered about some point, okay, that is q1, q2, q3, q4, q5, q6, q7, dot dot dot, so many charges, qn charges you may consider. So the uh, so with respect to some common point, the electric field at some point E will be equal to the electric field. Suppose EI is the electric field due to the charge QI, and so total electric field at any point E is given by I is equal to 1 to N EI. Okay, this is in according to the principle of superposition. Since E is electric field is the vector quantity, so total electric field will be equal to the sum of the electric field due to the separate charges. So what I am telling here, I am telling here that total electric field is the sum of the individual electric fields due to the point charges. Okay. So now in this case, total electric flux, suppose there is some surface, okay, so total electric flux passing through the closed surface is again given by the expression E dot dA, okay, closed integral E dot dA. Now in this case, you can write here in place of V as I is equal to 1 to N EI dot dA vector, okay. Since the summation is over the charges, so you can take it out of the integral and you can write it I is equal to 1 to N phi EI dot dA. Okay, these are all the vector quantities, and just we have shown that electric field due to a point charges, electric flux due to a point charges is equal to the that is equal to the 1 by epsilon times of the that charge. So you can substitute here. So this is due to ith charge, so you can put here I, and you can write here I is equal to 1 to N, and this will give you qy by epsilon naught. So in general, this is qy by epsilon naught, you can write it like this. So I is equal to 1 to N qy. So this summation tells you that this is the total charge enclosed by this surface. So your expression will be electric flux passing through the your expression will be the electric flux passing through the closed surface is equal to 1 by epsilon naught into q enclosed. Okay, means total charge enclosed by that surface. If you draw some surface and there are so many charges q1, q2, qn, then the total electric flux will be equal to the 1 by epsilon times of the total charge enclosed by that surface. So this is also called Gauss law. This equation is also called Gauss law. So according to the Gauss law, total electric flux passing through the closed surface is closed surface enclosing some volume is equal to the total charge enclosed by that volume. Suppose this is your closed surface, okay, and it encloses many charges, so the total electric flux passing through the this surface is equal to the sum of total charges. Now there may be the case where there may be a continuous distribution of charges, there may be point charges. So if there is a continuous distribution of charges and you have you know the charge density, then Q enclosed can be written as rho d tau. Okay, integral of rho is the charge density and d tau is the infinitesimal volume element. So this gives you the charge. If you integrate over in whole volume, so this will give you the total charge enclosed by this volume. Okay. So what I want to tell you that this is your Gauss law. Gauss law tells you that total electric flux passing through a closed surface enclosing some volume is equal to total charge enclosed by that volume. Okay, and if the charge is continuously distributed over some volume, then you can write Q enclosed as rho d integral of rho d tau over volume, where d tau is the volume element, infinitesimal volume element, and rho is charge density. Charge density means here rho is volume charge density. So there may be surface charge. If the charge is distributed over some surface, then you have surface charge density. Okay. So the Gauss law, you have the Gauss law in integral form. Okay. So this expression that we have just established is the Gauss law in integral form. Yeah, you can, for continuous charge distribution, you can write like this: rho d tau over volume 1 by epsilon naught. Now our motive is to write it in differential form. Okay, so how will you do? So we have the theorem, fundamental theorem of divergence, that if f dot dA, if there is some integral over surface, then it can be converted into the integral over volume. So divergence of f d tau, if you remember, this is your divergence theorem. Gauss, this is your divergence theorem. We have previously discussed it. Okay, so you can similarly, if you use this theorem, you can write this expression as, so you can write this here as integral over volume, this is V, integral over volume divergence of E vector dot dA. Okay, sorry, d tau, this is not dot, divergence of E d tau, and you will have 1 by epsilon naught rho d tau. Now if you equate the both the side, because in both sides you are integrating over volume, so you will get divergence of E vector is equal to rho by epsilon naught. Okay, so this is your Gauss law in differential form. So now you have established two equations. First is Gauss law in integral form. Let me write it again. E vector dot d vector is equal to Q enclosed by epsilon naught, or equally you can write it 1 by epsilon naught rho d tau V. Okay, this is your Gauss law in integral form. Gauss law in integral form. And Using the divergence theorem, you can write it like divergence of E vector by rho by epsilon naught. This is your Gauss law in differential form. Now I think the calculations are very easy, as we have already discussed differential calculus, integral calculus and coordinate systems. So what is the physical significance of this equation? This is very clear from equation itself. So this equation tells you that total electric flux passing through a closed surface is equal to the total charge enclosed by that surface. Now from this equation you can infer that the charge distribution produces electric field. Okay. There are many applications of Gauss law in integral form. So Gauss law integral form easiest our way of computing electric fields. For example, suppose some charge Q is distributed over some metal. Okay, Q is uniformly distributed over some metal, and you want to calculate the electric field at r distance. Then using the Gauss law, you need to just draw a Gaussian surface that may be a sphere in that case. Okay, so in this case you want to calculate the electric field. So if you will take, since the Q is uniformly distributed over this charge, it will be somehow not very easy to calculate the contribution of individual charge component, but you can, using the Gauss law, you can do it very easily. So E dot dA is equal to Q enclosed. Okay, Q enclosed by a Gaussian surface. We have drawn it. Since electric field will be perpendicular to the this surface, okay, because so you can write it E mod of E into dA. Okay, E dot dA will be equal to mod of E into dA into Q enclosed is the total charge enclosed by this surface is equal to, we have drawn the at r surface spherical surface of radius r. Okay, so you can write here Q by epsilon naught. Now E is E will be will comes out, okay, in just magnitude, and you have to integrate over the surface, and you will get dA is the dA means dA is some surface element over this spherical surface. So if you integrate over entire surface, you will give the surface area of this surface that we have assumed. So it will be equal to E into 4 pi r square Q by, okay, Q by epsilon naught. So in this way you can obtain the expression electric field 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q by r square. Okay, this is the magnitude. Now put the direction will be outward. Okay, that is r cap. So you can say here that the field outside the sphere is exactly the same as it would have been if all the charge had been concentrated at the center. So Gauss law is always true, and but it is not always useful. If rho had not been uniform, or means you can say that not spherically symmetrically distributed, or you can say if you have chosen some surface, some other surface in which symmetry is not there, so so the electric flux will be equal to Q by epsilon, but you E direction of E will not be in the same direction of dA, so you cannot take E out of the integral. Okay, you cannot take E outside of the integral if E and dA is not in the same direction. So symmetry is a very crucial to the application of Gauss law. So as far as we know that there are only three kinds of symmetry that usually work in the electrostatics. First is spherical symmetry. Spherical symmetry. Okay. Suppose there are some charge distribution, so you may draw a Gaussian spherical surface. Your Gaussian surface may be a concentric sphere type. The second may be, suppose some line, you have some charge distribution or along a wire, then you can, in this case, you can draw a cylindrical surface. Okay, in that case also the electric field will be perpendicular, in the electric field will also be in the same direction of the surface. So if the charge is spherical distributed over follows the spherical symmetry, then you can draw your Gaussian surface as concentric sphere. If it is have a cylindrical symmetry, then you can draw a coaxial cylinder. And if charge is over some uh, plane, then you can use a Gaussian pillbox. Okay, you can Gaussian pillbox that straddles the surface. Okay, you can draw your surface like this. Now let's discuss the curl of. So far we have discussed the uh, divergence of E. Now we will discuss the curl of electrostatic field. So we have to discuss the curl of E. So now again we will start our simplest case of a point charge. Suppose there is some point charge q, then the electric field due to this charge can be written as 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square by r cap. This is the electric field to this point charge at r distance, and the direction will be along r cap. So if you draw the electric field lines of this charge, okay, it will appear like this. So you see that there is no rotation. Okay, there is no rotation, hence you can guess that the curl of E, curl of an electrostatic field should be 0, but I want to do it mathematically. Okay, suppose, so for this I will assume that the point charge q is situated at origin, and these are the axes. So I will use the spherical polar coordinates. So to show that the curl of E is equal to 0, I will assume uh, that I am integrating electric field. So this, due to this charge, there will be some electric field at some point A, and there will be some electric field at some point B. And suppose we are integrating it with some path, okay, A to B. So to measure the curl, so we can do the line integral from A to B E dot dl. Okay, what is dl? Dl is the infinitesimal length element. Okay, so E vector dot dl vector. So what I am going to do is I am going to take the line integral of electric field from A to B along the prescribed path, along the path given here. Okay, so you know here the electric field to the point charge in spherical coordinates is spherical polar coordinates is given by this equation. So you can write here from A to B 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square r cap. Okay, and if you remember, you also know that the length element, okay, in spherical coordinates can be written as dr r cap r d theta theta cap r sin theta d phi phi cap. Okay, now if you will substitute, if you take the dot product of E vector dot this infinitesimal displacement vector, so you will only get this term. Okay, so other term, because theta cap dot r cap is equal to 0, phi cap dot r cap is equal to 0, so only term that will left will be dr r cap. So you can put here like this dr r cap. So so first let me write it dl only. I will write here. Okay, so you can write it a b 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square, and you have dr r cap dot r cap. Okay, r cap dot r cap is 1. So and you can take q upon 4 pi epsilon naught out of the integral. So you have integrating a to b, and you have q by r square dr. Okay, if you integrate it, you will get 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q r minus 2 plus 1, okay, divided by minus 2 plus 1, and your limit will be from a to b. Okay, you further evaluate, you will get q upon 4 pi epsilon naught minus 1 by r and a to b. You can write it. Okay, you can write it q upon 4 pi epsilon naught and it is equal to 1 upon r a minus 1 upon r b. Okay, now suppose if a and b are the same point, means if you are integrating it along a some closed path. Okay, this is the line integral. What this expression tells you, the line integral from a to b, but for closed integral a should be at the same point b. So your integration may be like this. If you are taking, if I integrating electric field at some closed surface, closed line, so along some loop, then you will get a is equal to ra is equal to rb. Okay, when ra is equal to rb, in that case, so in order to express the closed line integral, we put the circle on the integral sign, so it will give you e dot dl is equal to 0. Clear? I am using this space. So E dot dl is equal to 0. Now again I will use the fundamental theorem of calculus. So from the curl theorem, you know that this can be written as curl of E. So this line integral can be converted into surface integral. So you can write it, integrate it over some surface, curl of E dA vector dot dA vector, and it will give you 0. If you see, since dA is a surface element, it cannot be 0, so necessarily curl of E must be 0. So from here we can conclude that curl of E is 0. The curl of E is equal to 0. The physical significance of this equation is that electric field to the point charge is irrotational. Okay. So far the discussion of curl of E is equal to 0 was only for single charge. Okay, so curl of E 0 is equivalent to line integral, closed integral E dot dl is equal to 0. So if E dot dl is equal to integral of closed integral E dot dl is equal to 0, this means that electrostatic field is curlless. Electrostatic field is curlless, that there is no, this field is irrotational. Similarly, curl of E is equal to 0 means this electric field is curlless. Electrostatic field is curlless. So curl of E is equal to 0 means electrostatic field is curlless, means it has no rotational field. Now since it was for the single case, now generalize it for many charges. So you can, so if suppose if there are n charges, okay, this was single charge, this is valid for single charge. Now let's see what happens if there are n charges. So the total electrofield due to n charges will be equal to the sum of the individual electric fields, okay, that is E1 plus E2 plus E3 plus dot 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 n. Now takes the curl, so curl of E is equal to curl of E1 curl of E2 plus curl of E3 plus dot 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 curl of En. Since this was only for a single point charge at the origin, but these results make no reference to what is after all a perfectly arbitrary choice of coordinates, because the curl of is 0. So if you choose any reference, it will always give you the curl of E is equal to 0. So they hold no matter where the charge is located. Moreover, if suppose there are many charges, the principle of superposition will gives total electric field, and if you take the curl, then each individual must be the curl of each individual curl of electric field due to individual charge, each individual charges must be equal to 0, okay, because it does not depend upon the reference. So you finally get curl of E is equal to 0. So for any type of static charge distribution, curl of E is equal to 0. Okay. So now we have established two relations for electric fields. One is divergence of E is equal to rho by epsilon naught, and curl of E is equal to 0. This is only for electrostatic field. This is only for electrostatic field. So this is in differential form. These two relations hold for electrostatic fields, and these are in differential form, and you can write it in integral form as E dot dA is equal to 1 by epsilon naught rho d tau. Okay. Similarly, here you can write closed integral E dot dl is equal to 0. So this is differential form, this is integral form. These two law holds only for electrostatics field. So now I am going to stop here. In the next class we will discuss about electric potential.